I was shocked when patch 0.2 came out and there was no mention of any kind of rework or buffs or new philosophies about armor and life builds as a defense layer. When I first saw the footage and saw characters running around with 1200 life that GGG was showing, I kept thinking, well, maybe they rebalanced all the monster damage to kind of compensate. Maybe there was a buff to armor and they just didn't mention it, but they didn't do anything actually. So right now, the best defensive layer is energy shield because you can scale it high enough to actually take some hits. And I'm worried that GGG will go, oh, okay, it's not balanced, so let's just cut energy shield increases by 75%. Because that's how they seem to nerf things, is they make them unusable or something. That's not in all cases, obviously, but there are certain things where they do that, and you're like, okay, you guys like went way too far. So just before you start changing everything, just leave energy shield. Just leave it alone for now, because people at least can play that. And now come to Armor and Life and try to bring it up to where energy shield is. Okay, so here's some suggestions. Any flat armor that you have on gear, and only gear, okay, would just add to the life pool. Now, that doesn't really make sense thematically, I know that. So just in the same way that a flat amount of energy shield adds to a pool, you could have armor just increase your life. What this would do is that if you had some of the highest rolls you could find, like look at this armor I have, 2,549 armor. This one has 1,077 on a helm. This has over 500 on boots, over 400 on gloves, over 300 on a belt. Yeah, that's about 5,000 life you could add to your life pool if you equipped this gear that I have right here. Okay? And I'm saying just the flat amount, okay? And then see this says 47% increased armor on this amulet. That wouldn't apply. Okay? It'll just be the flat amount. If thematically you think that doesn't really make sense, I understand that, because then the game would have to tell you like, oh, also armor adds life, plus there are like life rolls, and it's like kind of confusing. But that would just be a quick way for them to balance it. Then you could probably get enough life on an evasion / armor build or an armor build, a full armor life build. The other thing this would do by increasing your effective life pool is that it would then increase your ailment threshold and your stun threshold, making you feel tankier. Now, I know the rebuttal to this is two things. One is that it would be confusing because it's called armor. Why is it giving life? Two, from the devs, they would say leech and regen are so powerful that if we do that, then you'll never die. You'll be completely immortal with armor life builds. And to that, I would just have to say, well, then you have to have diminishing returns on those things after a certain point. That's how you'd have to balance it. Okay, the other way, if you wanted to make that work thematically, then let's say it doesn't just give life, but it's just effective life in the form of armor. In the same way that energy shield has this kind of blue layer right here, you could have another layer that kind of looks like a reservation, and it would just indicate the armor layer that you have, and that armor layer could just work just kind of like your life. All right, so it would just kind of go down, and then your life would go down just like the energy shield. And then you might say like, well, then does it recharge and all that? And it's like, no, it would just have to go down like with your life at the same time, so that it's the life and the armor kind of both go down on the globe here, and when you heal, it goes back up with it. And so in practice, your effective life is higher. So that would be one solution. Some other solutions would be like, so here's a unique. It says armor applies to elemental damage. Maybe that's something they could do where your resistances can also be further mitigated by armor. That could be something. I don't love that idea either. Here's another one. Here's a unique where it says take no extra damage from crits. That's another thing too, where how would you know that exactly? I don't know. But that could be something that armor does, where armor reduces damage or avoids damage from crits or something, or greatly reduces the damage from crits on all types of things. So for all damage types, if all armor did what this unique here does, then maybe armor could be a lot better and you wouldn't need as much life pool. Okay. The other option for armor life builds could be that the life rolls on gear are just way higher. So like on this piece of armor I have equipped on my Infernalist monk, it has 38 to max life. Maybe they just double every single life value in the game that you can roll on gear. I don't really love that idea though, of just making all the life rolls bigger on gear, because then you're just looking for life rolls and probably just building energy shield anyway. When what we're trying to do is make the gear choice of armor really impactful and fun to use and build defining and allow you to progress. You know, if you found a new piece of gear that has 2,500 armor on it, 1,000 armor on the helm, you're going to be like, oh, dude, I just increased my defensive layer by a lot. Not only do I get some more physical damage reduction, but now I just got another 1,000 or 2,500 life, you know, effective life, or however it works. And now I'm really starting to get tanky. So that's why I don't love that idea. The other solution could be certain notables like this. So there's a notable down here called Iron Reflexes. Converts all evasion rating to armor. There is nothing that I've seen where it says like convert 20% of evasion rating to life, you know, or gain life equal to 50% of your evasion rating or something, or gain life equal to 50% of your armor rating, or 10% of your armor rating. Something like that perhaps could be pretty good. And that's kind of similar to what I was saying about in the beginning, where it's like the armor could just give you life. But then if you're playing an armor build, then you would just always grab that node, like always. It would just be like mandatory that you grab it, you know? But that could be one thing, is something like this node here, Iron Reflexes, but, you know, converts a portion of your armor to life, converts a portion of your evasion to life. Because there's really not a lot of ways to enhance life. Because if you're a full evasion build, you have no life. And you have no damage mitigation for physical, really. So, like, if you get hit, then you just die right away. You'll have like 1,200 to 1,400 life, maybe 2,000. If you're in the level 90s, you know. And if you have 90% evasion, you dodge everything and then all of a sudden you're dead. It almost seems like the way evasion should work then too. I guess this is off topic now from armor, but maybe their evasion should have like a thing where if you get hit after you've evaded and it will kill you, you're left with 1 life and a chance to at least move. You know? Maybe that's something that armor could do as well. Maybe a high armor rating allows you to just not die instantly. Maybe you can't get one tapped. Maybe if you were to die from a big hit, you're left with, one life, or you're left with a portion of your life or something. I don't know. But right now, the way the game works is that if you get stuck in the end game and you're getting one shot by stuff, and you want to play a build that focuses on a variety of things, like maybe it's melee, maybe it's an ethical build, right? It doesn't just blow up the whole screen right away. You need to go energy shield if you're going to do that. You need to have a layer of effective life in the form of energy shield right now. So my Infernalist Monk has 10,775 energy shield and 1,600 life, and 400 of that's reserved to build my energy shield. And this build here with this node, Altered Flesh, where cold taken as fire, lightning taken as fire, physical taken as chaos, and then I have 58% evasion. This build feels very tanky. And with Ghost Dance on, it feels pretty tanky. I can jump right into the thick of things and just melee stuff. And I will not get one shot. I will not die. It doesn't make sense that this girl wearing cloth with her legs and her chest showing is tankier than something that wears all this incredibly heavy armor with these huge rolls on armor that I have here. And then that build with all this armor has like a third of the effective life pool that this build has and can get one shot. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, so to conclude, I really do think that this could be a potential solution. Just having high rolls on armor and just adding that flat amount right directly to your life pool with the thematic graphic of the armor plating on as looking kind of like a reservation on the life and going up and down with the life and distributing that damage you take between the two, but essentially just increasing your life pool, just the number of your life pool, would probably feel good to players because you'd equip the armor, you'd see the little thing go up on the globe, you'd see your life increase, you know, like you just have this bigger number. It feels good to have 10,000 energy shield. I feel like it would feel good to throw on armor that's got, 5,000, and then that adds right onto your life. You, as a player, you'd be like, yeah, look at all that life, So I think that's not a bad solution. And then they would have to just add in a tooltip up here with armor that says, flat amounts of armor on gear increase life. That way, any high roll of armor would be exciting to get, just like a high roll of energy shield is exciting to get. Like right now, look at my helmet here. 412 energy shield, 759. This is 139 here. This has energy shield on it as well on my amulet. Some of these nodes that are pretty good, like this reserves life for energy shield. This gives me 25%. This gives me 60%. This gives me 30%. This one gives me 18. This one gives me 40%. And then I've got some over here. Like all those would just feel good. And you don't even have to have like armor nodes like this where it says like increased armor from equipped body armor. Like that could apply to the physical damage reduction, but it doesn't have to apply to the life part. You could just say it's the flat amount on the armor that adds the plating on the globe, on your globe here, and that kind of signifies the increase in life. So like it would work thematically that way. All right. So that's what I think. That would be the quickest, easiest solution to bring life and armor builds up, to make high rolls of armor more exciting on all types of gear, whether it's armor evasion, armor energy shield, or just pure armor. And that's what I got. The only other thing is you just have to have armor just give big reductions to all sources of damage so that lower life can compete with high energy shield. Those are the only two options, really. All right, thanks. Bye.